go for a drive and we're going to talk about why MMA Guru is an incel. Okay? Because obviously, this guy displayed some of the most incel behavior that I have ever seen. Okay? And I want to make this very clear, right? There is a strong possibility. Hold on a second. Let me make sure that my headphones are on correctly. Okay? There is a strong possibility. There is a very strong possibility that MMA Guru could have just been doing this for the sake of the cameras. Okay? That is a possibility. Okay? We all do a little bit of it in the world of YouTube, and the reason for that is because, let's be honest about this, right? You guys, I'm talking about the proverbial you, not you specifically towards whoever is here, right? But you guys in particular, around the world, the majority of you guys are addicted to dopamine. All right? And as a result of that dopamine addiction, it's not enough for somebody to get up on the camera and talk their stuff, be real, be authentic. That's not enough for you guys. Sometimes that could be rendered as rather boring. Okay? That's the absolute reality of it. Okay? There's a chance that a lot of you perceive all of this to be boring. The real stuff. I'm talking about just the regular punches and kicks, conversation, right? That's a little bit boring, right? If you are an MMA streamer and all you got are punches and kicks talks, you talk about the things that are rather obvious, right? Like, oh yeah, Islam Makhachev is the pound for pound #1. So does every other MMA streamer saying that, right? Ian Gary is a cuck. So does every other MMA streamer saying that. Oh, Ian Gary has good takedown defense. So does every other MMA streamer that says that. That's the problem, okay? Even though a lot of this is true, even though a lot of this is vital information to people that are not really that well-versed in MMA, it's not enough, okay? Let me tell you what you're competing with. Aside from the MMA side of things, right? Aside from the MMA streamer side of things, let me tell you what you're competing with. You're competing with people who are outrageous, people who say racially derogatory remarks. You are competing with people who have, well, other ideas and other creative ways to create an MMA channel, right? And me in particular, okay, this is why I not only cover politics. Some of my biggest views that I've gotten in this channel, you know, was political content. The Charlie Kirk live stream video that I did last year. Yeah, that's going to be, you know, 1 year from now. 31,000 views. That's pretty big for a channel like mine. Zesty's mother says hi. Hello, Zesty's mother. Let me know what part of the world you are from. Rachel Tafari? I believe that's an Italian name. Do you like baseball? Not really, to be quite honest with you. Not really. I've been to a few baseball games when I was younger. I grew up in the East Coast, then moved out to the West Coast. I've gone to a few New York Yankee games. So it was all right, but baseball is not really my thing. You know, I'm more of an MMA guy. MMA is sort of like the thing that I cover. I've competed in MMA. I still train MMA till this day. So, you know, yeah, you know, I'm only into one sport. Not into one sport, because obviously MMA also encompasses boxing. That also encompasses Muay Thai, BJJ, RAF, right? There's a lot of people in this channel that are very much into RAF, wrestling, right? So, yeah, that has become sort of like the part of MMA. Rachel Tafari says, what can I call baseball games? I don't understand what you mean. Okay, Rachel says, my favorite baseball team is Kansas City Royals and the Chicago Cubs. Okay. What what is your fascination with that team? Is it because they are in close proximity to a city near you, or do you have any particular favorite players in the city to that degree? If so, let me know. Vito says, why are American sports so ish? Okay, well, Vito Corleone, let me know what part of the world you are from, my man. If if you don't mind, if you don't mind revealing that, genuinely, no atmosphere, no nothing, fans. Okay, so that's a very good question, right? Considering that the UK, when it comes to, let's say, the United Kingdom's, boxing scene, right? Look how people turn up for the boxing scene. It seems that in the American boxing scene of things, it's more for like the casuals, right? And speaking of boxing, obviously, Tupac Shakur got his life ended while attending a boxing match, which, by the way, is sort of the big story going on right now with Keefe D and the murder trial that is going on right now. I'm from Scotland. Okay, man. Shoutouts to Scotland, bro. That's what I'm talking about, bro. We got Scotland up in here. I have a lot of people from Ireland that that pull up here. So yeah, man. Yeah, shoutouts to you on that, bro. What part of Scotland? Are you from Edinburgh or Glasgow? What part of Scotland are you from? If you don't mind revealing so, because I'm always curious to know what parts our viewers are in. So a bit of a nice icebreaker for the audience. Also, while we're in the subject of the UK, would you happen to be a fan or in knowledge of MMA Guru? And if so, what are your thoughts about him? What are your thoughts about MMA Guru? Because I have a bone to pick with him in his crash out post UFC 330, right? He crashes out because he picked Ian Gary to win by a decision. Okay? Now, many people are arguing that the fight was 3-2, right, out of 5 rounds. Some say that it was 4-1. Me, I say that it was 5-0. It was a complete shutout. So I don't know what anybody is talking about when they're talking about, Ian Gary had some rounds there. He had no rounds whatsoever. Vito says, I know who he is. I don't like him. He's English. There you go. There you go. Okay, so a little anti-English sentiment going on here. To be exact, he's Welsh. He's Welsh, but he lives in London, so not quite English, but definitely not Scottish or Irish, that's for sure, right? So why did he crash out over the Ian Gary Islam Makhachev fight? Well, the reason why he crashed out was because he really believed in his picks, right? He hangs his hat on being accurate in his picks. Now look, here's the thing about this, right? If you're an MMA content creator, I think it's pathetic that you hang your hat on right predictions, okay? Now, if you're a gambling channel, which, by the way, I don't endorse gambling in any type of way, obviously being that I come from a Muslim background, I don't condone gambling in any capacity, right? So as a result of that, yeah, man, I really don't care about fight predictions. Like, look, imagine saying I know nothing about MMA because I predicted that Khamzat Chimaev was going to win by decision against Sean Strickland. Now, obviously, Khamzat did not win. The fight did go to a decision, but you got to ask yourself, how is it that I knew the fight was going to go to a decision? And by the way, the same thing with the Islam Makhachev fight. To the T, I predicted that Islam Makhachev was going to win by a decision, and there it was. There it was, and there it is, and that's exactly what happened by the end of the day. So you got to ask yourself, how is it that I know that these fights were going to end in a decision? Maybe because I know MMA, all right? And the results not be necessarily indicative of that. Humble Man says, shout out to my guy Kyrie on a 10-minute work break. Had to tune in. Man, thank you so much, man. I hope that you can slap on your headphones while you're at work and you listen to this, because I got some bones to pick with MMA Guru, right? here's the thing, right? MMA Guru has never fought before. He's not a fighter, okay? He's never fought. He's never been in a fight. So as a result of never being in a fight, okay, that means that he hangs his hat on being correct with these predictions. And quite honestly, I think that's extremely pathetic. To be honest with you, it's honestly pathetic. He's never been in a fight. He's never competed. So to him, his MMA knowledge or having the right predictions is somehow indicative of him being called the MMA Guru, which, by the way, is the stupidest name ever. Because here's the thing, nobody can be a guru in MMA. Let me explain why. There's too many single compository sports in MMA that doesn't allow for any of that to happen. So as a result of that, the MMA Guru in and of itself is an oxymoron, just based on understanding the English language to begin with, and also while understanding MMA to begin with. Vito says, Ian Gary is a complete fool embarrassment to the Irish. Oh yeah, we're going to get to that as well. Rachel says, what kind of job do you have? I work in public relations. Rachel says, okay, I think you probably, pressed that by accident, but nonetheless, good either way, because at least, we'll still get this cracking. Vito Corleone says, what do you think of Tom Aspinall's situation? Well, I tell you what, right, that kind of falls into this whole entire category of Ian Gary as well, right? Because as you know, Ian Gary is signed by Eddie Hearn. Now, why did Eddie Hearn decide to sign Ian Gary? Obviously, Ian Gary, at the time of Eddie Hearn's signing, he was given the #1 contender title shot. So it was a strategic move for Eddie Hearn to get another champion in there. He already has Tom Aspinall automatically. Tom Aspinall I had a phone call, just wanted to make sure that okay, so going back to what I was saying about Eddie Hearn, right? Okay, so with the Eddie Hearn situation, okay, now obviously it's strategic. He's trying to get himself in there, right? Ian Gary was a good chance to get another world champion and also disrupt whatever type of boxing rivalry that Zuffa and Matchroom has going on. So all of this is strategic and deliberate, all one and the same, right? That's really what it comes down to. It's strategic. It's for the reasons of trying to disrupt, the other business. And so that is also indicative of what Dana White was saying about Ian Gary after the fact. What did he say about Ian Gary after the fact? He absolutely dissed him. He devalued him. And that is all because he is signed to Eddie Hearn. Now, you got to ask yourself, the Tom Aspinall situation, right? Going back to the Tom Aspinall situation to answer your question. As a result of Tom Aspinall being signed to Eddie Hearn, you better believe that the next time he goes and tries to re-sign his contract, my man's going to have some problems, okay? He's going to have some problems. He's going to have some serious problems because, put it like this, the problems that he's going to have is going to be based on contract negotiations, okay? They're not going to give him any leverage. They're also not going to give him any leeways on matchups, not that they can already. I mean, who is really going to challenge Tom Aspinall in a heavyweight division right now other than Cyril Gane? Let's see here. Okay, so Humble Man says, glad Islam won. Alhamdulillah, brother. Alhamdulillah. Humble Man says, I'm excited for the UFC 331 card. Pull over here real quick. I'm excited for the UFC 331 card. 2 strikers versus 2 grapplers. Armin and Pantoja versus Rufi and Van. Yes, that's going to be a good one. Humble Man says, I got Armin by round 1 sub. He's too good. He is, but I'm telling you, man, he's going to have a hard fight with Rufi, okay? okay? And I'm going to explain why. I'm going to explain why his fight with Rufy is going to be rather difficult. Rufy is a very dynamic striker, right? The type of striker that moves in and out, does a lot of feints. George St. Pierre said that if you use a lot of feints, you're going to overload your opponent, right? I think that's what's going to happen. He's going to overload him. Also, remember, Arman Tsarukyan has not been in a cage for so long. Being in there with a guy like that can absolutely disrupt your central nervous system. So I just wanted to put it out there, right? I'm not saying Arman isn't going to win, but I'm very skeptical about round one submission. But, you know, a very interesting pick. He says, are you high on Rufy, Kyrie? No, it's just the style that he has. I just know that that style presents a lot of problems for many people, okay? Because in particular, I fight like that. And I know what it does to people, especially other wrestlers. I just keep thinking about the Rufy versus BSD fight. Okay. Humble Man says, anyone upset with Islam's win is not a true MMA fan. He broke Anderson Silva's record for crying out loud. So that's a very good point, right? A lot of people out there were mad that Islam Makhachev had a boring fight. Here's what you guys have to understand, right? MMA is not just kicks and punches. There are also grappling involved, okay? If you don't like that, and if you don't like that Islam Makhachev had used those things to win the fight, then you gotta blame Ian Gary. And rightfully so. I'm sure MMA Guru is, blaming Ian Gary, because when it comes to the MMA community and its online presence, it seems that Ian Gary is nothing more than a punching bag these days, right? So he says, yeah, I know fighters progress. Humble Man says 3 rounds to Arman is co-main event. Yes, it is a 3-rounder. Yes, a 3-round co-main event. I think that's probably better for Arman, considering that he hasn't fought for a long time. And I think that his central nervous system is going to be tested. That's for dang sure, okay? It is absolutely going to be tested when it comes to these exchanges. He says, appreciate history is important. Appreciate history is important. Yes, so the fact that he broke Anderson Silva's record, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this will never be done ever again. It will never be done ever again. I'm going to tell you why, right? Think about how evolved MMA is right now, right? And how the constant evolution of MMA is going forward, right? You know, there's a constant forward, progress of MMA, and people keep getting better and better and better. When people keep getting better and better and better, there's more upsets, there's going to be less win streaks, people are going to people are still going to have win streaks, obviously, but not 17, okay? That was difficult for Anderson Silva's time, and it's even more difficult in this era. And I would argue that what Islam Makhachev did was much more difficult doing it in this era, especially coming from a loss, right? I know Anderson Silva has had losses prior to the UFC, but Islam Makhachev had his loss in the biggest stage of them all, which is in the UFC. So I think there is going to be a serious problem with being able to obtain this type of record. It's never going to happen again. It's only in our lifetime that something like this happens. And quite frankly, I don't think Islam Makhachev stops here. I think he's going to go from 18, right, in his next fight. It's 17 now. It's going to be 18 in his next fight, and then 19 and 20, and for however long he wants to continue. It's going to get to a point where, you know what, no one's going to be able to beat this record. I think he's going to continue on from here, right? He's going to go through Morales. Morales doesn't have the wrestling to deal with him. Protest doesn't have the wrestling to deal with him, if Ian Gary has the wrestling to deal with Protest, how much more with Islam Makhachev? So there's a lot of that going on right now. Yeah, man. So going back to MMA Guru, right? For the same reason why he's the biggest MMA streamer in the world is the same reason why he has no life. Okay? I need you guys to understand this, right? If you want to be the biggest MMA streamer in the world, you got to be on consistently. And in his earlier days, right? And he's not so much now, but in his earlier days, he was on every single time. Okay, he was on a lot. He was on like twice a day, live streams, multiple videos, right? This was MMA Guru. This is how you become the biggest MMA streamer in the world. All right, and I understand that because guess what, man? If you notice, I'm not always in the studio, okay? Because MMA streaming is not the only thing that I do. I wish it was, because obviously, you know, it would give me a bigger chance to get up there and have a much bigger channel and a bigger platform and whatnot. But I try to do what I can in terms of, you know, doing it as much as possible. If I'm out on a venture, if I'm out running errands, or if I'm out going to work or doing whatever type of work that I need to do, I'm going to go and take the MMA streaming with me, right? That's how you do it. By the way, guys, hit the like button. Come on now. Hit the like button for your boy one time, right? I'm here dropping some content for you guys. I don't have to be here. Well, you certainly don't have to be here, but since you're here, why not hit the like button anyway? Humble Man says, do you think the UFC will book Islam against the brothers in Michael Morales and Carlos Prates? Michael Morales will probably get the shot next, right? If all else is right, I think Michael Morales is going to get the shot. Prates has lost to Ian Gary, even though Prates has had some very good wins along the way. He has a win over JDM. That's a former champion. That's a good enough win to get him up there. But Michael Morales is undefeated, and I'm sure Islam Makhachev likes the idea of taking an undefeated record from somebody like Morales, especially since he can't be undefeated himself because of that one blemish that he had going on. So I think by Islam's choice and also coinciding with the UFC, there's a great chance that Michael Morales is the next guy up, you know, up to bat. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think that it's going to be Prates? Do you think that it's going to be Michael Morales? Or do you think it's going to be some random person that we don't know about? How about that Michael Oliveira guy, right? Who I believe is, I don't know what he is right now, 11-0 at this point right now, right? Humble Man says, did you see that Islam wants to fight in the next 6 months because he isn't getting any younger? Yes, that's part of that as well. And also the other part is the fact that he has Ramadan. Well, we all have Ramadan. I'm not just saying he, but all of us collectively as a Muslim community, we have Ramadan in February. So he's trying to get a matchup in November, maybe December, maybe somewhere in January. But just right before Ramadan, he wants to get it in. And he says that he's not getting younger. So what that tells me is that he wants to go past beyond Khabib and also obtain something that is, well, really impossible to replicate, right? A 20 fight win streak, 21, 22 fight win streak, 23 fight win streak. All of this, right? That is what he is looking for. So as a result of him trying to look for that, what he wants to do is try and, you know, create, what do you call it, a different type of legacy for himself. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to create a different legacy for himself, okay? So as a result of trying to build a different legacy for himself, notice that he has already surpassed Khabib Nurmagomedov, right? At this point right now, he's 29-1, right? So he already has 30 fights under his belt, right? That's one more than Khabib. The names that he's beaten, the championship accolades that he's accumulated, those are already good enough. those are already good enough to say, hey, you know what, I can retire on top right now. But it seems that he doesn't want to do that. He wants to push further, which indicates that there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot more matchups, a lot more fights, and also a lot more opportunities that he's going to try and get at. Humble Man says, I think Carlos and Michael should fight while Islam recovers. Carlos and Michael should fight while Islam recovers. You know what? That's not a bad idea, to be quite honest with you, right? It's not a bad idea. However, the reason why it's, it's not the worst idea in the world, right? The reason why it's not the worst idea in the world right now is because, obviously, we need a definitive number one contender. They are both arguing over who's going to get the shot, right? So as a result of arguing on who's going to get the shot, Islam also wants to get right back in there. So maybe we're not going to get a Protest and Michael Morales. Maybe you're just going to get one of them. But either way, interesting turn of events. Islam wants to get it in. Protest and Michael Morales want to fight for, number one contender spots, or at least arguing about it. But at some point, yeah, they probably have to fight for it. But we shall see. We shall see indeed. So, interesting times ahead, that's for sure. Yeah. Humble Man says, I gotta go, brother. I hope you have a great day, brother, and stay safe and healthy. Thank you, my man. And, yeah, please, go recommend me to your other friends and coworkers as well so we can get some more viewers in here, right? So while we're at it, I'm going to diss MMA Guru some more, okay? Because here's the thing about MMA Guru, right? I'm not jealous of the guy in any kind of way. I've been having money. I've been having, a good, successful life way before YouTube. I don't need YouTube to be successful. He did. Prior to YouTube, the guy was a bum, but God bless him for making a good account of himself in the world stage of MMA streaming, okay? All the respect to him. Because by the end of the day, I am trying to do the same thing that he does, right? Even though, I come from, a much more, privileged background, for lack of a better term to that, right? But what I will say is that these things are worth noting. These things are worth noting. Okay, the crash out, it was completely uncalled for. Imagine being so hung up on the fact that you are angry that MMA... Imagine being so angry over an MMA fight. I mean, that's insane to me, man. That is absolutely insane to me. You are angry over an MMA fight. That is insane. I can't fathom the idea that you're going to get angry over an MMA fight. In fact, bro, that is straight up incel behavior. Okay, this is the guy that you guys who support MMA Guru. Okay, the guy that, goes out of his way to scream and yell over an MMA fight. Like, don't any of you find that, kind of pathetic? I mean, really? None of you find any of that pathetic at all? Like, the guy was angry over an MMA fight. Never me, bro. That could never be me. No way, Jose. That could never be me. Nope. All right, guys. Let's get out. Let's get out right here real quick. Here real quick. Show you guys a little bit of some downtown stuff right here. So this is J Street. This is J Street, and J Street and I think 24th. Yeah, J Street and 24th, right here. This is an old record store right here. Yup, that's the main topic of the day right now. MMA Guru, the incel. I mean, imagine, listen, guys, this is something that MMA Guru would never do with you guys, right? He lives in London, doesn't show you anything about London, doesn't show you anything about, his city, what he represents, none of that, nothing. He's an incel, sits at home all day, does nothing but talk about MMA and doesn't even look. Imagine your whole entire life is MMA and you're not a promoter and you're not a fighter, okay? I mean, how pathetic is that? That's the life of MMA Guru for you guys. Really, it's honestly pathetic. But hey, all credit to you. You're the biggest MMA streamer in the world. You're almost 30 years old. You ain't got no wife. You ain't got no kids. And then you talk about all this trad stuff. Oh, yeah, trad. Yeah, the Western male is declining or this and that. Yeah, well, you're probably the quintessential contributor of that, right? You ever thought about that, MMA Guru? Like, you're probably the quintessential example of that. But anyways, guys, uh, excuse me for just a second. I'm going to take a little intermission here real quick. Got to go into this building. Hold on. About the fights this weekend.
This weekend,
Oh, no, no, no. Last week.
oh,
Yes, yes,
last
yes.
weekend,
Anthony Hernandez is fighting this week. Yes, yes.
yeah.
I fought on the same card as Anthony Hernandez back in 2012.
Wow.
Out in Reno. So, and I've trained with him too. So, so I'm really excited to to see this one with him. Yeah.
Good.
But what did you think about the Islam Makhachev fight?
Well, it was good, but I think if Ian would push a little bit more, he could have get the win. If he would have pushed a little bit more the last round, because he was looking so fresh. On the fifth round, he was looking way more fresher.
Until he got that head kick, and it was what that kick. It's not that shows you kind of how strong Islam is.
Yeah.
Because usually a kick like that, if it's coming from a shin, like your shin bone, that would cause that type of fall, right? But he caught him with his foot. So it's very unusual. I've also fought in Taekwondo as well, where it's like point fighting. So usually it's you score with your foot rather than with your shin. You know what I mean? So it doesn't really knock out a guy. You know what I mean? Unless, and so that kind of shows you like how strong his kicks are because it takes like a real strong kick to like knock somebody down, with a foot kick.
Well, he knocked Volkanovski out with the same kick.
But with his chin,
That was his chin.
Yeah, yeah.
The guy was taller.
Right. So that's what you have to. Yeah. You can only reach so far. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
The guy was taller. He was good, but that was a fantastic fight. I enjoyed it. Did you watch that Dana White Contender series?
No. I know there was an Iraqi guy there, right? Faisal, right? He's like, man, he reminds me of Conor McGregor a little bit. He kind of has that like Conor McGregor, you're right. And the tattoos and everything, and the beard, like he has, that resemblance towards him.
Yeah, he was good until that last shot. If he would have taken more, he got a lot of shots because his hand was down.
Yeah.
And he was getting shots from the same side over and over again. He got caught with the jab from this side because his hand was down. This one was up, but this one was down.
Oh, okay.
And the guy timed it really good and threw an overhand because his hand was going down and he was coming forward toward his shot. When you're a professional, you should be a little bit more responsible.
Right. I haven't. I gotta go watch the replay of that fight, but I gotta go see that. Yeah. All right, brother. Hey, good talking to you, man. It was a good weekend of fights, huh? San Diego, of course, man. I had to, well, let me just say I had to get off the camera for a second, but I'm going to be on camera right now as we speak. Alright, so there we go, man. I am back on camera right now. He says silence, silence, silence around the silence, mid-silence, leaving me behind. Silence, yeah, so no longer silence now. We are back at it like a mother effing crack addict. Bye, shout out to my man Gunner Collective. That's what he likes to do. That's what he likes to say. That's kind of his thing. But yeah, man, how's everyone doing nowadays, man? So, all right, back to dissing MMA Guru, of course, man. Sorry, guys, had to run a little bit of an errand there. So, you know, now that the errand is done, we can get this cracking right here. So, all right, man. We're back at it, boys. We're back! Woo! Yes, indeed. Shall I proceed? Yes, indeed. Okay. All right. So, this is what I got to say about MMA Guru, right? Listen, guys. Every one of his fans are going to defend him. They're going to say something to the extent of, hey, you know what? He has a better life than you. I don't know about that. The guy doesn't have a car. Okay, have you ever seen MMA Guru in a car? Have you ever seen MMA Guru do any streams while he's like in, you know, an expensive restaurant? No, I have. Okay? MMA Guru has never done anything like that. Okay? He's never done anything like that. The guy sits in his house all day, just chills there, does absolutely nothing, and yeah, that's MMA Guru in a nutshell, okay? MMA Guru is an incel, bop, bop. MMA Guru is an incel, bop, bop. MMA Guru is an incel and will never have children for the rest of his life. That's what it is, man. MMA Guru will never have children. He will never have, I mean, look, I don't wish bad upon the guy. I'm sure he lives a good life with the YouTube money that he makes. You know, I'm not hating on that. But MMA Guru will never have children. So that kind of tanks his whole idea of, yeah, I'm a traditional Chad guy or this and that. You're not a freaking Chad, bro. You know what I mean? Like, get over yourself, bruv. You're not a Chad, yeah? You're not a bloody Chad. You's a wanker. You's an absolute wanker of a thing. And that's just that, okay? That is just that, MMA Guru. You are an incel. MMA Guru is an incel. Huh! MMA Guru is an incel. MMA Guru is an incel and will never have kids. Yeah, he'll never have kids. That's just the reality of it, man. MMA Guru sucks, bro. He really does. I mean, let's just be honest about this. You know, dude sucks, bro. He absolutely sucks, bro. And you know what? He sucks, but he's also the best MMA streamer now. Try and wrap your head around that. All right? Try and wrap your head around that reality. The fact that he sucks, but yet he's also the best MMA streamer in the world. How is that possible? Well, I could tell you that he does a lot of good content, right? He's very consistent. Whenever there is a fight, he comes back straight away with some sort of like reaction. He does all the fight predictions, has been very consistent at that. You know, so it's kind of hard to hate on the guy, you know? Kind of hard to hate on him for those things. But it is what it is, boys. It is what it is, yeah? It is what it is, yeah? Yep. All right, boys. So, yeah. MMA Guru is probably a fag. Let's just be honest about this. The guy's probably gay. Has anybody ever... Look, you know what? Maybe I should do a video on why I think MMA Guru is gay. And I mean gay in a homosexual manner. I don't mean gay as in just trying to disparage the guy or anything like that. Like, I honestly, legitimately think is a G-A-Y. Why are you gay? Why are you gay, MMA Guru? MMA Guru, you are gay. Why are you gay? I'm going to bring out my Russian accent on this one. MMA Guru, why are you gay? Why is MMA Guru gay? I do not understand why he sits in his room all day like an incel, like a pathetic little incel that he is. He doesn't go anywhere. He doesn't do anything. He is an absolute pathetic little incel of a man. That's MMA Guru in a nutshell. MMA Guru in a nutshell. MMA Guru is gay. MMA Guru is gay. Gay, 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 G-A-Y. Got nothing against the gays, just not my thing, okay? Maybe that's MMA Guru's thing, that's cool. It ain't my thing. It ain't my thing, yeah? It ain't my thing, yeah? It's what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is, yeah? It is what it is, yeah? You with the big dogs now, yeah? You with the big dogs now, yeah? Yeah, so that's that, guys. That is that. We're gonna go by the river right now. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go by the river and and have some conversations about deep life stories. That's what we're gonna do. Yes, and we're gonna talk a little bit of some. Oh, by the way, man, how about this? Right, Anthony Hernandez is fighting this weekend here in Sacramento. Oh yeah, it's gonna be full coverage on that. What do you guys think about the Tupac trial that is going on right now? What y'all think about that? I was watching it yesterday. They had Reggie Wright, his fat ass, getting on the witness stand with his little stroller that he has going on. And I'm like thinking to myself, oh man, this is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. That's where MMA Guru is going to be in a couple of years. He's going to end up like Reggie Wright. Punk-ass MMA Guru. Yeah, and you know what? MMA Guru never pops up anywhere either, if you notice that. You know, he never pops up anywhere. He never, he never pulls up anywhere. You know what I mean? It's quite interesting, really. You know, he's not, yeah. Drew says, take off the headphones and put the phone down. Yeah, you're a snitch. Drew, you're a snitch. Child seat in the back. You're a father doing shit. Yeah, dude, you're a snitch. You're an idiot. So what? How about this? How about I put you on timeout, you freaking idiot? How about that? Boom. You don't even matter. Drew, you're a dumbass. You don't even matter, bro. Talking about, oh yeah, you got a child seat in the back, yeah. I'm like, yeah, because I'm not an incel like MMA Guru, you idiot. That's why I got a child seat in the back, because I'm not a stupid incel like MMA Guru. Okay? So, there you have it. Scandibigo says UFC 330 card is great, or was great. I think what you mean to say is it was great, and indeed it was, man. I'm gonna sit right out here, have some coffee, and talk some MMA with all of you guys. That's what I'm about to do. We're gonna talk some MMA. We're gonna be out here. We're gonna be chilling, smoking, drinking again. This stupid ass snitch in the comment section. Look at that. Look at that. Look at this beautiful scenery right here. I don't think I've taken you guys here in all my years of doing MMA YouTube. I don't think I've taken you guys here yet. But now we finally have. So here we go. Oh, you mean 331. Yes, UFC 331, correct. Yup. Look at that. Right there. Look at that boat. Right there. Look at this. And then you can go all the way down there too. Have a little rock climbing session right there. See? You could rock climb up here. Look at that. So, oops. I need to bring like a cell phone stand with me. Look at that, guys. Right in the heart of Sacramento, y'all. Okay, we got some seats over here. Oh, wow. All right, look at this. This little seat right here looks like you can lounge on it. Here we go. All right. I suppose we can chill right here. It's a little sunny right here. How you doing, man? How are you? Don't mind me just live streaming. Huh? What's that? Oh, okay, awesome. What you got there? Some tobacco wacko going on? Okay, yeah, not much of a tobacco guy myself. You know what I mean? Just I'm more of well, the other alternative, as they say. What's your name, man? My name's Kyrie. Donnie, nice to meet you, man. Nice to meet you. So what brings you out here today? Oh, okay. All right, man. Well, thank you, man. Thank you. That's a very important contribution to the community. You know what I mean? Keeping our beautiful city of Sacramento green. Are you a Sacramento original by any chance? Did you grow up here, or did you move here from somewhere else?
I was born here, then I moved somewhere else and come back.
So you were born here, and then you moved somewhere else and came back. Okay, interesting. Okay. Well, I wasn't born here. I actually grew up in New Jersey. Well, I mean, I was born in Libya, right, in North Africa. Then I, lived in New Jersey, and then after I left New Jersey, I came and lived out here. So, but yeah, man, that's cool. So what brought you back, man? I'm assuming, you missed, the nostalgia of the city. What brought you back to the city?
I think it was a mistake.
It was a mistake. What was?
I'd come up here. I mean, was traveling.
Okay. Where did you travel to when you were, when you left Sacramento?
Well, Sacramento's last place I come from. I come from New Orleans.
Okay, New Orleans. Okay, that explains. Okay, I hear the accent a little bit. Okay. All right, man. Cool. Well, hey, brother, listen, it was great meeting you, man. You have a beautiful and blessed day, and, hope everything is well. And, thank you for sharing your story with me, my man. All right, have a good one, man. Nice meeting you, man. What's your name again? Donnie, Kyrie, man. Nice meeting you, Donnie. Burgundy Day, Douglas says, fam, well, that's what it is, man. I like, one of the things that I like about doing this YouTube stuff is that, you know what, you get to kind of get everyone's story. That's what I like to do, right? Getting everyone's story, right? How did you get here? What did you do? Where are you from? And things of that nature. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I like to do. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about, man. He says, Donnie Brasco, he says, no. I mean, that's a very common name. So I don't think that has, any correlation to it or anything, So, yeah, this is going to be a longer walk down there away from my car. So I'm just going to go right here. Yeah. But like I said, man, hey, listen, what MMA channel does that? Okay, what MMA channel does that? Where you do something different, you go and explore different things, talk to different people. That's what it's all about by the end of the day. You know what I mean? And, shout out to my man right here, contributing to the city and whatnot. So, yeah, man. How you doing, man? Good morning. And look, and then we got some bicyclists coming down this way, right? So I'm telling you, Sacramento at one point was considered the most fittest city in America, right? And this is the reason why. If you take a look at our city right here, there's a lot of parks, there's a lot of activities. You can go to the river and, and canoe. There's a lot of good places to run if you're a runner, right? Back in the days, I was a real staunch runner. I mean, I still run, but the running that I do is I'll do 20 minutes on the treadmill at most. That's the most running that I do these days. Back in the days, I remember running for the most that I ever ran was 20 miles, which is damn near a marathon. I ran right around the Capitol, right? And the Capitol was literally 1 mile around, right? So I ran it 20 times around, which, falls into, 20. So, Yanip says, stay hard. Do they make Mancala in Libya? Mancala. You're going to have to explain to me what Mancala is. It might be called something else, but you're going to have to explain to me what that is. But yeah, take a look at this beautiful bike trail right there. Hopefully my car is still good right there. Doesn't seem like there's any. Yeah, this is a spot in Sacramento that not many people know about right here. You know what I mean? Oh, check this out. One wheel. And look, there's that old school train right there from the 1800s. We're gonna go check out that train right there. That train is from the 1800s, y'all. There it is, guys, real life streaming. He says, it's game day, you play with rocks. It's game day, you play with rocks? Oh, okay, because you see the rocks in front of you right now. Okay, I got it. Okay. Okay, it's a game you play with rocks. Yeah, I never heard of it. But all right, man, yeah, take a look at this view, and then look right across. Those are like luxury apartments right there. And then the bridge, there's the bridge right there, but then there's also the gold bridge, the new bridge, the old gold bridge. There it is. And then we got some cyclists coming down the path right here. He says that guy's story reminded me of it. Ah, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay. All right, so what do we got here? Man, yeah, check out this train right here. This train looks like it was from the 1800s or something like that. Look, see? What's up with it, fam? Don't mind me, I'm just streaming. How you doing, man? How you doing? My name's Kyrie. What's your name?
KD.
KD, nice. Oh, my bad. Sorry. Nice to meet you, man. Hey, no, don't mind me. I'm just streaming. Do you know how old this train is by any chance?
No, I know it's very old though.
Yeah, man. I was looking at this and I'm like, man, this thing looks like it was probably like from the 1800s or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, man, how when they stopped like using that on commission and stuff like that, you know, and they just like left it out here like that.
No, it's like museum probably.
Oh, okay. Okay, for sure, man. Okay, for sure. All right, hey, man, good meeting you, brother.
Hey, ask AI though. This is new technology.
I would, but you know, I'm my phone is like on live stream right now. I'm like, yeah, live streaming right now. So, you know.
Yeah, you good, brother?
Yeah, for sure, man. Hey, good meeting you, bro. Yeah. So, check this out, yo. Look at this right here, right? Like, see, look at this out here. Look, let me explain something to y'all, right? Like, you know, and I'm kind of guilty of this too. Like, you know, you got a mortgage, you pay rent, and this and that. Look at this, bro. Out here, you could just be right out here and in nature and this and that, and it's like, and it makes you wonder, like, yo, what is it that you're doing? You know, like paying all your mortgage, your bills, and this and that, and you could be right out here in the nature, you know. But hey, you know what? Here's the thing, though. You know, it's not for the faint of heart, but you know how it is, you know, everybody's trying to like keep up with the Joneses and all that, and then, you know, you got a world out there where, you know, people are just trying to survive, you know what I mean? You know, obviously with the economic collapse that's going on in America right now, and look at that, look, you got ducks right there, you know, a whole gang of ducks, you know, just, you know, pulling up in a convoy like that. Look at that, man, you know, beautiful, man. This is like, yeah, this is the beautiful part of Sacramento, or at least, the very least, you know, the most underrated part of Sacramento right here. So, check that out right there, man. You know, they got some communities out here and this and that, and, you know what, and back in the days, man, this is how, you know, folks used to live back in the days, man, you know? So, I don't know, I feel like, you know, with the end times that is happening, right? Obviously, a lot of people talk about, you know, the end times that is going to occur. We're gonna walk right into these rails right here. I'm gonna walk right into these rails and get right back to the car. So, yeah, with all the end games that people are talking about, with the end time prophecies and things of that nature, you know, you start thinking like, you know what, maybe at some point when technology goes away, people are going to start going back to the basics. Okay, that's what I feel could potentially happen at some point. You know, people are going to go back to the basics, and when they do, you know, it's going to be a completely different world. A different world shattered away from the metropolitan city life, right? So, X-Stack says, hello, young man. Douglas says, well, isn't it illegal to camp in parks? I know it is here in Vegas. You see, here's the thing. I don't know if this is a park, right? And nobody has said anything to those people yet. So, I would imagine, you know, that's not necessarily the case, right? Until, of course, the police start showing up there and pushing the issue. But so far, you know, the police have not pushed the issue on them to any degree. You know, they seem to, you know, just be right out there in the cuts. Look, check this out, right? They got their setup right here, and then right there is the Golden Bridge. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally out in the cut. There's almost really no one here, unless, of course, you know, you're a runner, or let's say if you're a bicyclist, you know, or, you know, if you're just a streamer like me, just kind of documenting all of this. You know, this is what you get. But hey, guys, this is what you don't get with MMA, okay? You don't get outside experience like this, you know what I mean? Listen, guys, I've been living in a mansion since I was 34 years old, okay? I'm 41 now. I've been living in my mansion for from 34 to 41. Okay, I'm not going to be cooped up in there all day, even though I got a nice studio, I got a nice house. I'm not going to sit there and be cooped up there all day. You know what? I'm going to go outside. I'm going to represent my city and put it down. X-Stack says, hello, young man. He says, that's why I practice sword fighting. I want to get into archery. You know what, man? The end times prophecy in Islam talks a lot about that, right? The potential of what the world is going to be in Armageddon, you know? So, yeah, man. Adrian with the ghost emoji. That's right. That's right. You want to know how I'm walking right here? Check this out. Having a little morning cup of coffee, you know, while walking in the rails right now. There it is. Hi, guys. How are you? Yeah, very friendly city. I love it, man. Everybody here is very friendly. Everybody here is very kind. Everyone here is very nice. You know, can't complain. You know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, sometimes you have to go and talk to the ones that are less fortunate than you know, to kind of give you a perspective in life. You know, sometimes we get caught up with all of our bills. We get caught up with our daily life. We get caught up with, you know, a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, sometimes almost doesn't matter, right? There's a lot of things that doesn't matter in life, and we make them matter. We stress out over them for whatever reason, you know? For example, right now I got sciatica in my leg right now, right? It really hurts bad, right? I think I like pinched a nerve in my leg or something, right? So, you know, it's been really difficult for me to train. I haven't been training the way, but you know, sometimes you need a little bit of rest. So, Scandabigo says, stand by me to featuring Kaya. Yes, that's exactly what it is, right? It's like, stand by me, oh, won't you stand by me, oh, stand by me. Is he only what I see? He says, Do you ever wonder why the hadiths weren't written or recorded directly from the Prophet? Well, here's the thing, right? That's why there's a lot of scholars that debate on which hadith is authentic and which isn't. So that's sort of the controversy, behind it. That's kind of the controversy behind it that's the controversy behind it, guys. There's a lot of hadiths that were exaggerated, hadiths that were, non-authenticated, and then there were some that they authenticate and that said that it is from the Prophet. So, yeah, if you want to talk more about that, let me know, man. We can have a discussion, a debate on that particular subject, especially, on the educated front of things, right? Trying to just understand the hadith in a much wider fashion. Look at that little mural right there. So yeah, man, heading out to Miller Park again, where all the gangsters in Sacramento hang out right here. Yeah, and let me tell you something, man, this is not a place you want to hang out at if you don't know anyone here. It's one of them things, So, but I've showed you guys this before. I didn't show you that part that I showed you with the rail road right there, and then that's why my man made the Stand By Me, reference right there. So, let's see here. Oh, darling, stand by me. Oh, stand by me. Diesel places right there. Yup. There it is, Lowrider Lane, also known as Miller Park. I didn't know it was called Miller Park for a long time, right? Like, I knew it was called, what do you call it? Lowrider Lane. I didn't know it was called Miller Park. And then there it is, my stupid ass right there. They didn't even read this part right here. See, it even says it right there. Look, Fred Miller Regional Park. And the whole time I just thought it was like Lowrider Lane Park. But, obviously the street name of it is Lowrider Lane. So if you're here, be sure to look up Lowrider Lane. So, okay, so, Douglas says, do you think if it were important enough, it would have been recorded with the same generation as the Quran or is mentioned by the Revelation? Well, okay, you also have to understand there's the aspect of different translations, or I'm sorry, different interpretations, different people. There's also people that have tried to desecrate the hadith, right? So that's the other aspect of it. Muhammad only converted a handful of non-Arabs during his lifetime, all high-level strategic positions. All right, man. Well, there you go. There you go, man. So, all right, we'll hang out right here. Oh no, look at this. My man got a dog right there. I'm not chilling here with a dog. No way. I don't trust dogs, bro. Especially if it's not a dog that's one of my homies, or or a dog that I know. Even if it's a dog that's for one of my homies, man, I would be very cautious. Look at this, bro. This is how people live out here, bro. This is rough living right here. Look at that. Look at that. Really rough living, Really rough living out here. All right, Constantinos, man, with the, thank you, my man. Thank you for the super chat. He says, what's up, my guy? Been a while. How you been, G? Very good, man. I'm so glad that you are here, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Scandibigo says, Muhammad only trimmed his mustache, never shaved it. Okay, well, that's perfectly fine. To each its own, right? But the Prophet Muhammad did mention to trim it, right? And for me, trimming it means getting rid of it all, Yeah, look at that little guts we got right here. Ducks. Hi, guys. Hi, everyone. How you guys doing? Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Hi. How y'all doing? He says, have you heard of Muhammad of... What do you mean by that, Douglas? Constantino says, what did you think of UFC 330? I tell you what, man, there was a lot of controversy that happened as a result of it, right? As always, there's always some sort of controversy that happens in fights, right? And one of the controversies about it was that, well, they deemed what Islam Makhachev did as rather boring, okay? By the way, guys, hit the like button for me, would you? I don't know if I'm seeing the accurate numbers on the like buttons, but, you know, we got to get better on the like buttons. And by the way, thank you for the super chats for my man Constantinos. And, yeah, man. All right, so the controversy behind it, they were expecting Islam Makhachev to completely dominate, okay? Dominate to the point where Ian Gary could do absolutely nothing. Guys, I need to explain something to you, right? Ian Gary has had over 300 amateur boxing matches, okay? That's like Lomachenko level experience in amateur boxing. And then on top of that, he got into amateur MMA, and eventually he got into pro MMA. This is a real legitimate fighter in Ian Gary, right? And I know that you guys want to say that, yeah, he's a bitch, he's a cuck, he's this, that, or the other. I get all that, right? But the guy, by the end of the day, is a tough fighter. He's a hell of a fighter, right? Like Floyd Mayweather used to say, man, one hell of a fighter. Yeah, he's one hell of a fighter. And he is. Ian Gary is one hell of a fighter. There's only so much that that Islam Makhachev could do. Now, the other complaint that people had was that that he wrestled too much. Guys, I don't know what to tell you, man. MMA is a component of wrestling, okay? And wrestling is allowed in MMA. And you know what? Quite frankly, if you don't like it, go watch kickboxing. But for whatever reason, you don't want to watch kickboxing because guess what? In MMA, the lore behind it is that you don't know what's going to happen. That is the lore behind MMA. You don't know what's going to happen, okay? So, let me read this part right here. Constantine says, can we agree that it was 3-2 Islam rather than 4-1? Brother, I give it 5-0. My dude, I give it 5-0 to Islam Makhachev. 5-0. I know a lot of people are going to complain or, you know, or not like that score. Okay. But Scandabigo says, Joe Rogan wanting Islam to move down because he didn't dominate is insane. George St. Pierre. George St. Pierre has a very similar body structure than Islam Makhachev, right? I believe you call it a mesomorph body figure, right? Where he has a very, you know, like a skinny waistline, but very heavy up top, right? Like very athletic looking, right? So he has the same body frame as that of George St. Pierre. And you look at the type of fighters that George St. Pierre had to face. You know, he faced someone like Ian Gary. He's 6'3". I don't know if George St. Pierre fought anybody that tall at 6'3". I know that he fought Carlos Condit. He's 6'2", so you could say that he was like, you know, an Ian Gary type of figure. But it was a very hard fight for him to deal with. And as I imagine, there's going to be even harder fights for Islam to deal with because it's a very talent-stacked division. I don't think it's indicative of the fact that, okay, he should move down. Or here's the thing, right? If George St. Pierre moved down to 155 or fought at 155 the way Islam did, I guarantee you would be seeing the type of finishes from George St. Pierre at 155. And even Faraz Zahabi mentioned at some point that he thought George St. Pierre was better suited for 155, crazy enough. Constantino says, not Kyrie, respectfully disagree. Islam definitely won the first 2 rounds clearly, 3 and 4. Ian did much more damage. Islam just held on to him for dear life. I don't mind Islam, but he is boring at welterweight. NGL. What does NGL stand for again? Yeah, please explain to me. You know, I'm a little bit older. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit of an older man, so, you know, even though I don't look like it, right? You know, not bad for 41 years old, huh? You know what I mean? But, yeah, I don't know what NGL means, but, okay, not gonna lie. Okay, not gonna lie. Got it. Thank you. Okay, I will remember that. Not gonna lie. Okay, so, yeah, I just think it's just a matter of how talent stacked that division is. That's really, I think, just what it comes down to. It's an extremely, he says, no way you're 41. What, you think I'm lying that I'm 41? How old do you think I am? But yeah, I'm really 41. I was born in 1985. Okay, yeah, I was born in 1985. So yeah, I really am 41. He says, mashallah. Yeah. Hey, look, here's what it is, right? Looking young is not necessarily sometimes what you do, it's sometimes what you don't do. Okay? Sometimes it's what you don't do that keeps you looking young. Like, for example, I don't engage myself in extremely stressful situations. He says, I thought like maybe 32 or something. Okay. 32, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. My body is probably biologically 32 years old, right? You know, I'm probably biologically 33 years old, and yeah, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs. Those things help, you know. Also, eating the right food, obviously. You know, getting your vegetables in, getting your meat. You know, red potatoes, you know, those things. I think, and marshmallow, Scandivigo says marshmallow. I think that's you mocking the mashallah comment, but yeah. Marshmallow, he says. Marshmallow ain't bad. Yeah, marshmallow ain't bad. He says the nerve problem is not 32. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's yeah. There it is. That's what it is. That's what it is. You know what? Father Time, guys. You know you can't beat Father Time. That's just what it is. So Scandibigo, I have to agree with you on that. Look at Edson Barbosa, right? Edson Barbosa is 40 years old, but when you looked at him in that fight, man, did he look like he was 40 years old? But then again, you know, Edson Barbosa always had a good body to him, was always cut, always lean. So he looked good for his age too, but, you know, obviously that was, yeah, that was, what do you call it? That was indicative. His performance was indicative of that. Constantino says, I'm sorry, bro, but please explain how Islam won 3 and 4. The wrestling, I think, was, you know, probably indicative of all that. Oh, look at this. Look at all these ducks surrounding this car right here. Look at that. Look at that right there. Oh, look at that. They look like they're coming towards me. Oh, man. He says Barbosa, when he kicked the shit out of Hangman, was insane. Yeah, man. What's up, y'all? Don't mind me just live streaming. Yeah. He said YH, but what's more important was control. What's YH? Man, y'all gotta game me up on these, you know, new age internet languages. YH, what does YH mean again? He says, but what's more important is control time or damage. Yo, Islam had all the control time against Ian Gary in that fight. You know what I mean? Like, all the control time he had, and, yeah, dude. Okay, maybe 4-1 is reasonable, but, dude, you know, I stand by 5-0, man. 5-0, all 5 rounds he dominated that fight. Oh, YH means yeah, okay. All right, simple enough, right? Okay. YH means, okay, that's what it means. It means why. Okay, hold on, let me go put my coffee back in my car real quick. He says Islam clearly won, but that was not domination. Come on. Okay, so look, now that we're on that subject, right? You know, real talk though, Ian, what's up, fool? Ian did pretty good, okay? Like, he did decent for, you know, somebody that you know, has fought for the first time for the title, right? What's the common denominator between both of them? I'm going to tell you what the common denominator is with both of them, right? They both have a solid team, okay? A solid team, a group of guys that stick together. You see these ducks right here? All these guys, they all stick together, right? You will never see any of these ducks, you know, separated from each other, okay? They work as a pack, they work as a team, and what a lot of people forget is that MMA is also, you know, you go out there and you fight by yourself, right? You're out there fighting by yourself, but really it's a team effort. You know what I mean? MMA is a team effort. You know, you have to have the right group of guys around you. You gotta, look, I'll give you an example, right? I told you guys about the team owner of Team Alpha Male, Dr. Fisher, right? You know, the guy also, I believe, specializes in psychology, right? So I remember I had a Muay Thai fight against this dude who, I don't know what he was. I think the dude was like a Mexican Southsider or something. You know, he had like tattoos in his face or this and that. And no lie, bro, I was like, man, I was scared shitless to go in there and fight a dude that had all these tattoos in his face. You want to know why? Well, I don't know why. I just thought, you know what, maybe the intimidation factor. So Fisher sat me down. He said to me, he's like, I'm going to try to do his accent, right? He's like, well, you know, what is it that you're scared of, you know, against a guy with tattoos? I mean, he just has tattoos. What's there to be scared of? I'm like, all right, well, he broke it down to me. He's like, does he have speed like you? And I thought about it, no. I'm like, does he hit harder than you? I don't know, maybe, you know, because, you know, prior to that, I knocked out, you know, a couple of guys, you know, prior to that fight. So fast forward, he puts me in a mind state where, like, you know what, I got nothing to fear against this guy. And then he made me realize, you know what, most dudes with tattoos in their faces, you know, are just really dudes that are scared. Let's just be honest about it, right? You want everybody to be scared of you. You got your hood tatted on your face or this and that, you know, but in reality, you're just a scared little boy. You just want everybody to know that you bang Sword 13 or whatever it is that you bang or whatever. But in reality, you're a man just like everybody else. You got attributes, I got attributes, and he reminded me why I had the superior attribute than my opponent, and I ended up, you know, winning that fight just based on, you know, based on that alone. So that's what you got to do, man. You got to have the right team around you. And how important was it that I had a dude that was a sports psychologist, you know, help me out? And you know what the common denominator is? The common denominator is that you had a group of people around you. All right, look at this. If, let's say I decided, and I'm not saying that I'm going to do that. If I decided I was going to go and, I don't know, stomp on one of them, which I'm not, by the way, right? I guarantee you all of them would gang up on me right now. Okay, that's called, you know, team unity right there. And once again, like I said, MMA is an individual sport, but at the same time, you know, it is also, he says, I speak Mexican fluently. What the fuck? Mexican? You mean Spanish? Like, what kind of ignorant statement is that? I speak Mexican perfectly. Like, yeah, it's called Spanish. Maybe there is like a Spanish version of Mexican Spanish version, but yeah, Spanish is Spanish, my boy. You know what I mean? Just like there's Arabic, there's Lebanese Arabic, there's Egyptian Arabic. He says, you're right. He says, can you call them closer? Oh, call them closer. Oh, okay, yeah, that was in reference to all that. So, You're right. What am I right about? Constantinos, let me know. What am I right about? Here, I'm gonna wait for these guys to get up out of here right here. See if you notice, they're trying to cross, and they're all doing it in there's that lady right there feeding them. He says, oh, about the language. Okay. Scandabigo says Uriah, right? You're right. Oh, okay, Uriah, right. Yeah, yes, Uriah favor, yes. Thank you. Mighty kind of you. Just didn't want to, run them over, of course. What do you think about Fluffy and RoboCop? All right, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so Fluffy and RoboCop. I got Fluffy on that one, and I need you guys to understand. Maybe I'm going to be biased on that because me and Fluffy fought on the same card before. Yeah, me and Fluffy fought on the same card back in 2012, and I got into it with Fluffy's opponent. I believe his name was Blake Smead, right? If you look at Blake Smead in the Reno Combat Championships, I got into it with his opponent backstage, okay, because he was making a comment about my my Palestinian kippah that I was wearing, and so yeah, he's like, yeah, man, this is MMA, nobody's gonna die, nobody's gonna get killed, and you know what I mean, all this other weird shit. I'm like, man, F you, shut the F up. He says, what do you, so yeah, I think Fluffy is gonna win by unanimous decision. I think that he's going to outgrind him. There's a good chance Fluffy might finish him by rear naked choke as well. So there it is, guys. This is where it's at right here, low rider lane. Okay? So just so you guys know where all of this is at. Where all of this is at. Yeah. To fasten a seatbelt there a little bit. Constantino says, I think it's 50-50. Yeah, it is, right? Because it's about Constantino. I'm sorry, here's the thing about RoboCop, Constantino. RoboCop is one of those guys that's somewhat of a gatekeeper at this point, right? Would you agree that he's a bit of a gatekeeper, right? When he fought Jared Cannonier, that was a gatekeeping mission right there with Jared Cannonier. That was a straight up gatekeeping mission. Hold on a second, guys. Yeah, RoboCop is a gatekeeper, really. All right, never mind. I got everything. Okay, good. Just wanted to make sure I didn't drop anything there. Yeah. All right. So it is a 50-50 fight. Is a gatekeeper, and he could knock out anybody at any time, right? But here's the thing, right? When you got a dude who's a knockout artist versus a guy who can grind for 5 rounds, I usually tend to lean towards the guy that can go 5 rounds, okay? Because you know what? A knockout happens seldom, right? Knockouts do happen, but they're also very seldom, and they're especially with a guy that's defensively sound. You know Fluffy is going to be very defensively sound in this fight. He's absolutely going to be defensively sound. And as a result of him being defensively sound, he's going to be very difficult to do anything towards, right? The pace, the pressure that he's going to put on RoboCop, it's going to be a lot. Constantino says, RoboCop got the bazooka in his hands, but Fluffy is weak to the body. Yeah, that's true. Fluffy has to make sure that he doesn't get him in his, in some body shots and whatnot. He gets him in his body shots, it's going to be all bad. That's for sure. Yeah, it's going to be really bad for him in the body shots. But I do think if Fluffy survives round 1, then he wins. He says, Board Short says, why is Guru an incel? Okay, so that's a good question. I'm glad that he's bringing up a question that is sort of in the topic of what this live stream is, even though this live stream is a little bit of an IRL as well. So I'm going to answer it for you, okay? He's an incel because he's almost 30 years old and he doesn't have any children yet. I highly doubt he has a girlfriend, right? The reason why he's the best MMA streamer in the world is because he has nothing else going on. However, I do acknowledge that to be the best MMA streamer in the world, you have to be on constantly. Okay, because there is a demand for MMA talk. There is a demand for MMA topics, and you have to feed that machine, right? When there's a fight going on or when there's a fight that passed, you have to feed that machine, talk about it, do content on it, and he does a very good job of that. The rate that he does it, okay, requires you to basically give up a certain portion of your life. Now look, earlier, I don't know if you guys noticed, I had to go on silence for a second while I was on live stream because I had to go run an errand, right? By the way, all business related errands that I had to go and run, right? So as a result of running errands and doing things that I have to do for business or whatever, right? I'm gonna go and take you guys with me while I am driving and live streaming, because guess what? I am also trying to obtain the same position that MMA Guru is at, or if not, come close to it. That's what you have to do. But him, he doesn't go out anywhere. He doesn't go anywhere at all, right? He stays in his studio all day, and credit to him. This is the reason why he got to where he was at. But understand, that right there is the reason why he is an incel and why he has no life. Also, it's the reason why he crashed out on Ian Gary, okay, for losing. He picked Ian Gary to win by decision, and he got mad that it didn't happen because he's so worried about his pick prediction rate. Me, I could really care less about my prediction rates, okay? I'm not a prediction channel. I'm not a gambling channel. I do predictions here once in a while. It's not the main focal point of what I do. I'm also a geopolitical channel. I'm also a California gang channel. So there's a little bit more depth into the things that I talk about. A whole lot more depth. He says, the connection was gone. Okay, how about now? He says, I've heard Guru has 3 wives and 12 children. Man, you're an MMA Guru fanboy, bro. You know what I mean? Like, how do you come up with that? Because here's the thing, right? Even if that is true, that shows you are an MMA Guru fanboy, because who in the world would... And if he does, God bless him, but quite frankly, okay? Yeah, I highly doubt it. How's the connection now? When you said that the connection was gone, is the connection okay now? Let me know on the comment section below if you can, please. Okay? So, oops. Turn right here. This is the V Street Mosque in Sacramento. I'm going to go into a mosque, guys? Who wants to go into a mosque? Let me know on the comment section below if you want to go into the mosque. I'm about to go in here right now. Let me see. Okay, so is the door open? All right, cool. The door is open. So I can park here just a little bit and just kind of take a little bit of a tour. So this is the Christian mosque right here. Right? He said a guru met one wife in LA and one in Arkansas. Is that right? I doubt that, but all right. You know, if you want to make fantasies about your, about your hero, that's okay. Here we go. I'm just give you guys a little bit of a tour, okay? So. So right here, this is a residential area right here, right? There's people that live in it. So this is great, man. Imagine you are at a mosque, right? And then you live next door. And then right here is a school. Okay, there's a school right here. There's a facility. And then this is the mosque in and of itself, right? So this right here, this is also a clinic. They also have a clinic right in these parts right here. They got a clinic in these parts right here. So this is the ladies section right here. This is a clinic right here. This is, by the way, credited by UC Davis, by the way, the Shifa Community Clinic. So they also do understudies here as well and things of that nature. So yeah, this is also a residential area right here. So there it is, the Jam Masjid. V Street. This was established in 1947. Okay, so this was, Scandabigo says, this is great content, Kyrie. Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad you appreciate it, man. I'm glad you appreciate it. And, you know, of course, showing the, you know, cultural significance of Sacramento right there, the men's section. That's where you make your wudu. How about this? Right across the street, okay, is a church. See, that's a church right across the street. It's a Baptist church right here, see, along with the residential area here. I'm not going to try to walk there too much. I don't want to disturb the residents of the masjid, but yeah. So yeah, more of the residential area right here. And then we'll go right into the mosque, okay? So that's what we'll do. We'll go right into the mosque for a second. So. So this is the inside of the mosque. Obviously, this is for Quran reading right here. So if you are reading the Quran, it's usually done sitting down on the floor, and this is sort of like the perfect setting of it, right? Or used in many of the madrasas, as you know. The back section, that's where the ladies are at. This is the front right here. Yeah, man, 1947, this mosque was built. You know, this is where the imam leads the prayers. This is the microphone right here. Yeah. Yeah, so. Okay. When exiting the masjid, oh Allah, I need to ask you of a real favor. Yes, may Allah bless this channel so that we can spread goodness and news of reality to the world. Okay, so all right, let's put back on my shoes. guys. V Street Mosque, established 1947. Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, see, very well kept. The way they have everything here, very well kept. So, and they always leave the door open for all the people to come and pray, you know, as many times in the day as they wish. You know, you can come here, do all the 5 prayers. You could come here for Jumu'ah. You could come here for all of it. You could come here for your wedding. You could also come here for your funeral as well. Yes. Your funeral as well. So, yeah, man. The IRL stream of Kyrie of El-Kheer MMA. Yeah, and see right across the street is that's what is Baptist Church. Right? The church, the mosque. Church, mosque. Church, mosque. Mosque, church. Okay? For all the Baptists out there, of course. So let's go to the park near here. I got a nice little park to show you guys around here. We'll do a little bit of a tour at the park around here, or maybe we'll just park at the park because I'm kind of low on batteries right now, so I'm going to probably need to charge this phone for, you know, just a little bit here. So, yeah, man. Shall I proceed? Yes, indeed. There it is, guys. Alright, so the Southside Park, they got a little pool here. I don't know how sanitary this pool is, but okay. Yeah. This is the park I'm talking about. I think I've showed you guys this. I'm trying to show you guys places that you have yet to see. So there it is, Sacramento, FD's finest right there. I don't know exactly where they are going, but yeah. Scandabigo says 1947 and you haven't converted every American yet? Come on, man. It took 1300 years to conquer and convert 43 countries after Islam. Not as easy with the US and EU after 3,000 years. Good point. Look, right there. This is a Brazilian restaurant right here. So this is like a Brazilian restaurant, Tupi food as they are called right here. So yeah, check out Tupi food in downtown Sacramento. Yeah, dude, 1947. That is wild, right? But remember, there was Islam in the United States before 1947. So let's keep that in mind as well, right? Which, by the way, I mean, kind of, you know, it proves your point. But you also got to understand, America is not exactly a very religious country, even for their own religion, right? So it's going to be very difficult. By the way, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to work out right there, right? That wasn't a YMCA before. That used to be like a gym. But yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger used to work out there in that gym, but now was converted into a YMCA. And then all these other government buildings that we got going on here. So, yeah. This is the Department of Education, the Education Department. Capitol, that's the Capitol right there. Dubs. Yo, shout outs to Dubs. He says, where are we going? Just touring around Sacramento, Dubs. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're just having a little bit of a tour around Sacramento. How you been, man? Man, I gotta check out your, I saw that you posted a video. By the way, guys, go check out Dubs' video, man. He's very prolific YouTuber, content creator, and all of that, right? One of my inspirations in the YouTube game. So, yeah, man, just doing a little bit of a tour in Sacramento. This is K Street right here. And speaking of K Street, as I was telling you guys before, I covered that K Street shooting, right? They had the court case. This is where the court case was going on with the K Street shooting right here. What's up, folks? We're looking at right here. This is where the K Street, yeah, right here. The K Street trial was right here. When that trial was going on, this line right here was packed. They had like lines right out to here with people waiting on the court case. I mean, obviously it was a very high profile court case. So yeah, man. Yeah, so we did a little bit of a tour around Sacramento, Dubs. We went to a mosque that was like as old as World War II, right? A mosque on V Street. We went to, we passed by a Brazilian restaurant. What else? We passed by Old Sac. Yeah, man, just overall, Gunners Collective, bang, bang. Oh, snap, man. We got the homies in here, bro. Gunners Collective, man. Shout out to Gunners Collective, bro. Oh, man. I'm pumped now, man. We got Gunners Collective and Dubs here at the same time, bro. At the same time? Oh, man. Ain't nothing but a gangsta party. Light that up, light that up. That's what I'm talking about, man. We got Dubs and Gunners Collective in here. Is this the real Gunners Collective? Hold on, let me make sure, right? Because, you know, sometimes the, okay, yeah. 1,169 subscribers. Okay, that Dubs, let's see. Yeah, that's definitely Dubs. Yep, that's definitely Dubs and Gunners Collective. Okay, so just making sure I wasn't talking to, like, you know, the fake imitation. Because, yo, a few times I had the fake Israel Adesanya in here, and I, like, for a second, oh, snap, man, Israel Adesanya pulled up on my live stream. And then later I found out it is not Israel Adesanya. I looked at his profile, and I was like, 1 subscriber. I'm like, ah, man, that ain't no Israel Adesanya, bro. You know what I mean? But damn, bro. That's what I'm talking about. He says all support, bro. Yes, man. You know, I fully support you guys and in all your endeavors, and I'm very humbled that you guys come and pull up on my live stream as well. The topic that I'm talking about with this live stream is why MMA Guru is an incel, right? Yo, check this out, Dubs and Gunner, right? This dude literally crashed out over the Islam Makhachev and the Ian Gary fight. And I'm like thinking, bro, this dude is hanging his hat on having accurate predictions, right? Look, any MMA streamer that hangs their whole entire channel on their prediction, I think are MMA streamers that have never fought before, or guys that, you know, really don't have a strong knowledge in MMA, so they somehow take their prediction record as indicative of how good or how much they understand MMA. And on top of that, man, it's incel behavior, bro. Like, really, you're gonna be mad over a UFC fight, bro? There's bigger things in the world to worry about. Now, the other side of that, he says anything can happen. Gunners Collective says, yes, that is absolutely correct, man. So the thing about it is, like, yes, anything can happen in MMA, but at the same time, bro, it's like, you're really mad because your prediction was wrong? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not indicative of how much you know MMA or not. Okay, for example, during the Khamzat and Sean Strickland fight, right? I said that Khamzat was going to be in for a hard fight against Sean Strickland. They were going to go the distance. We're in the Sacramento Bridge right now, guys. Check out the Sacramento Bridge, y'all. There it is. So I predicted that that was going to go to a decision. Here's the thing, though, right? It didn't go Khamzat's way. Now, obviously, you know, maybe there's a little bit of biasness on my part because, you know, Khamzat is a Muslim brother, and of course I wanted him to win. But instead of looking at, oh, yeah, you got the fight wrong, you got the results wrong, does anybody even ask, like, hey, how do you know that that fight was going to end to a decision? And by the way, I also predicted that Islam Makhachev was going to win by decision, right? And I predicted it was going to be a hard fight. And he did have a hard fight, man. Now, he did get busted up, but the thing is that maybe it was caused by a headbutt. Scandabigo says, Brad Pitt, ever since our divorce, she requested $500,000 monthly for the children, +1, which I agreed to, but now she's telling me it's time to increase it to $1 million. Man, that tells you a lot, bro. Brad Pitt, right? The so-called biggest Chad in the world. If that dude got those problems, bro, you better believe that a lot of dudes out there are going to have that same problem. And it's a goddamn shame, to be quite honest with you. A real goddamn shame. You know, but man, shout outs to Brad Pitt. I hope everything is all right with him. Obviously, Ilya Tapora was going through the same thing. Ilya Tapora was going through the same thing, and look what happened to him at the White House. I honestly think, and this is not taking away from Justin Gaethje in any kind of way, right? I think that it was very indicative of the distractions that was going on in Ilya Tapora's life. That's what I think. I think there was a lot of distractions that Ilya Tapora had going on, the child support that he had to face. These things were a problem. They were a serious problem for his life. Okay, they were a serious problem for his life, and on top of that, you know, maybe the Nelk boys were right. Remember? Man, yeah, he beat the living heck out of the Nelk boys, so after that, but the Nelk boys had a point, man. Yo, the Nelk boys had a point, bro. They had a point. They're like, man, you met your wife in Miami? And then Ilya Tapora is like, bro, you will meet your wife anywhere. You know this. You meet your wife anywhere. Yeah? Well, you know, not in Miami. And then he tries and justifies it by saying, yeah, you can meet your wife anywhere. You know, everybody in Miami, they work, they do this and that. Yeah, but you know what? Yeah, Miami's Miami, and I gotta tell you, I got some homies down in Miami, and they are some of the most superficial people on earth, okay? Because everything about Miami is superficiality to the max, okay? Everybody has to have all the big butts. Everybody got to have all the, you know, muscle beach look and this and that. It's a very vain society, right? California is up there as well, obviously, because, you know, we got Hollywood. You know, this is like, you know, the land of gold and whatnot. But I would say Miami is right up there. Scandabigo says they have a ton of children as well. Who are you talking about, Brad Pitt or Ilya Tapora? Or both? Which one are you talking about when you say they have a lot of children? Yeah, let me know which one you're talking about, my man. But I honestly think Ilia Topuria is going to have a hard time in his comeback as well. Because the beating that he took from Justin Gaethje, I honestly think that that's going to affect him in the long run. Look at what happened with Tony Ferguson. You know, man, yo, Justin Gaethje changes people's lives, bro. You know, Justin Gaethje is that dude, bro. He will really change your life, okay? Because after that Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje fight, Tony Ferguson was never the same again. He went on a losing streak. And then, of course, you got Tony Ferguson still hanging on to the idea that, you know, he was going to fight Khabib, right? He calls Khabib fathead. Hey, fathead, you know, if we were going to fight, I would beat you. But here's the thing, right? I think, in my humble opinion, a loss saved Tony Ferguson from the beating that he would have took from Khabib. It would have been so bad. The beating would have been so bad that I honestly think that Tony Ferguson would not have had a career at this point. That's really what it is, right? He would not have had a career at this point if he, a boxing career. Because remember, man, Tony Ferguson is thriving in Misfits boxing right now. He's doing very good. He beat up that Filipino kid, what's his name? Salt Poppy. He beat him up. Who else did Tony Ferguson beat up? He beat up a few YouTubers. Either way, man, you know, that was payday for Tony Ferguson. Not the biggest competition for Tony Ferguson. I don't see Tony Ferguson ever being, you know, a WBC champion or an IBF or any of the alphabet letter belts in boxing. But I think that it's great that he's making money in the Misfits boxing, making money in, you know, in these celebrity boxing matches. Ilia. Okay, so you're talking about Ilia. Ilia is an alcoholic. He will never come back. Really? He's an alcoholic? I never heard that about Ilia Topuria. Maybe this is new information. I know that he was partying with the Spanish national team after their win. Right? Like, imagine, bro. He's forever going to have to remember that. That is a psychological factor that I think is really, really serious on Ilia Topuria. Imagine, in history, he's going to look back and see that the Spanish national soccer team were the champions, right? In the same year that he lost in the biggest fight ever. Scandinavigo says, Tony's hands are huge. I think he hits hard. Yeah. Very well suited for boxing, right? And obviously in his prime, I don't know how much he has of this now, but he's got serious, what do you call it? He's got serious footwork. You know, really good solid footwork that he has. You know, really solid footwork. So that solid footwork that he has going on, you know, I think is going to do him a whole lot of justice for MMA, for boxing. I think that it's going to serve him, you know, some good positive outcomes in boxing. But I don't know about the highest level of boxing, though, right? But yeah, Tony does have huge hands. He's got great footwork, and that I think is a very good advantage in boxing. So, but yes, he does hit hard for sure. He absolutely does hit hard for sure. That is a fact. That is a fact. What else? What else do we have here? So, okay, yeah. What else is on? Yo, I can't look up the internet right now because obviously, you know, it's not right in front of me. But if anybody can tell me any particular matchups that's going to be in UFC Sacramento this weekend, right? Like, let me know. What are some good matchups other than obviously RoboCop and Anthony Hernandez is going on? You know, yeah, let me know. Let me know, man. By the way, guys, we're heading right into Broderick right now. This is a northern territory, for those of you that don't know. That's where we're heading into right now. Yeah, so we are in West Sacramento right now, at the West Capitol Avenue right now. Check that out. This is where we're at right now, y'all. This is the halal market right here that I go to, Salam Market. Go check them out if you guys are ever here. If you want to try some Afghan food, they make some Arabic food as well. You know, all of that. So, let's see. What else is an upcoming matchup? So, they're talking about UFC 333 already, right? Where is UFC 33 going to be at? I believe that's an is that an Abu Dhabi card? Yeah, it is. So UFC 333 is an Abu Dhabi card, and then UFC 332 is Salt Lake City. That's a Salt Lake City card. Who's going to be in that card? I think they're still building up that card right now as we speak. So, yeah. Yeah, man, that should be interesting. That should be really interesting. Here's the other mosque that I go to right here, right on Flossie Street, right here. Right, this is the other mosque that I go to right here. Let's pull up on this one. See, and they got a house here too. Let me turn this one right here. So we got, look at this. So there's some trailer parks right here. These are trailer park homes right here in this area. So Peter Yan, I believe that UFC 333 is going to have Peter Yan and Marab for the rematch. It's going to be a trilogy for them. Man, those guys are so close with each other, right? Like very close and tight with each other in terms of competition. Now, it just seems though that Peter Yan may have Marab's number. Because, look, what Marab does best is weaponize pace, right? And this is also very similar to that of Anthony Hernandez. You know, they weaponize pace. Now, if you're the type of fighter that weaponizes pace, right? What type of fighter can counter that? A fighter that's very methodical, a fighter that's very technical, right? These are the marks of a fighter that can absolutely hand you some serious problems, right? If you are just a cardio-based fighter. I'll tell you this, right? When I first got into Muay Thai, you know, I was a cardio machine, right? Not in a cardio machine sense of fighting, but a cardio machine sense of, you know, I was running like, you know, 10 miles, stuff like that type of cardio machine, right? But then, you know, once you reach a high level, you start realizing that, like, man, you know, everybody has high cardio, or at least very decent cardio, right? Now, Marab obviously has out of this world cardio, but the difference is that there are others who have enough cardio, right? Like, okay, his cardio is up here, and Peter Yan's cardio is right down here, right? Even though his cardio is right up here, Peter Yan just needs this much cardio to keep up with Marab, and everything else, his skills are going to play a factor. Scanabigo says Yan will beat him. Marab is mediocre without his cardio. He's spamming random-ish. And you know what? That works against some guys, right? You notice how that works against some people. That doesn't necessarily work for everybody. It doesn't work for Peter Yan. That's for damn sure. Yeah, Peter Yan Man, yeah. It doesn't work on Peter Yan, not at all. He's too technical. Look, the best way to deal with a guy that has good cardio is to slow the fight down. And guys who are very technical, whether in MMA or boxing, are very good at slowing the fight down. And I think that's what's going to happen, and I think that's what he's been doing in the past couple of fights whenever they both met. Right? He knew how to slow down the pace. That's what Peter Yan is good at. He did it to my boy Uriah Faber. If you remember, Peter Yan fought Uriah Faber, and, yeah, that's exactly what he did, man. You can't just spam random stuff to guys like that. You can't do it. By the way, this is my favorite market that I go to right here on, by the way, this is a northern territory area right here. This is, right in the thick of Broderick right here. Let me go in here and, pay this business a little bit of some respect right here. I don't drink alcohol, obviously, because I'm a Muslim, but you know what I go and buy here? I buy coconut water. That's what I buy here is a little bit of some coconut water. Let me pull up in quick. So if you're wondering where this is at, this is on Lisbon and Solano, right? Northern Territory, as I was telling you guys. So
you guys might have to,
how you doing, brother? How are you? Good? All right. Okay. Also, listen, having this fight in Abu Dhabi as well, I gotta tell you, I think this is going to be a clear advantage. This is going to be an advantage for Peter Yan. It's going to be an advantage for Peter Yan. It is. Because I think the time zone plays well for Peter Yan. I believe he trains in that part of the world mostly, right? I think he trains out in Thailand, right? Which should not be too hard for his, it shouldn't be too difficult for his transition, right? From Asia, Russia to Abu Dhabi. Yeah, it shouldn't be too hard. But yeah, man, you can't just go and spam random stuff to a high-level fighter. I think Merab gets away with it with so many guys, but I don't know, man. Styles make fights, right? And Sean O'Malley did beat Peter Yan, but Sean O'Malley has a different style that allowed him to beat Peter Yan, right? That particular style that allowed him to beat Peter Yan was the whole feint thing that I was telling you guys about, right? Look, when you're constantly feinting, right, you're overloading your opponent's mind, all right? And when you overload your opponent's mind, it's going to be rather difficult for them to commit to anything. It's going to be very difficult for them to hold you down, right? Put you in a certain position of like, okay, you know what? We're going to hold you down right here, and then we're going to figure you out from these linear positions and these linear movements that you do. Okay, but if you're not linear and you're unconventional in a Tyson Fury manner, in a Sean O'Malley manner, in a TJ Dillashaw manner, in a Prince Nassim manner, it's going to be very difficult for you to deal with a guy like that. Very difficult. Okay, it's going to be very difficult. Very hard and difficult. So, I think Peter Yan is going to be too much for Merab, though, man. I really do. I think Merab had his time, but as much as Merab had his time, I also think that Merab is dealing with a guy that has his number. That's what I think. I think he just has his number. That's really all there is to it. Yeah. So let's see, what else? Okay, how about the Ryan Garcia and Conor Benn fight? Let's talk boxing for a little bit, right? And then after we talk boxing, let's get into Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, because there seems to be a lot of confusion going on with this fight. Now, Netflix recently put out a poster for Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury. And there hasn't been anything definitive behind that yet. You want to know why I think they did that? I think it is because of the fact that they wanted to force the issue, right? Like, think about it like this, right? If you see a poster of yourself out there, all right, and you haven't signed the fight yet, now you're pressured into that fight. I think that's what they're trying to do with Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. They're trying to pressure them into a fight. Because the controversy right now is that they want this fight in America. Why? Because you get more commercial value, more Americans are going to watch it prime time rather than watching it in England. If they fight in England, you're going to have to watch it morning time. But if they have it in England, then they're going to make you do it, you know, at like 5, 4 in the morning, just so you can have a fight, you know, at nighttime. It's one of those things. So, man, yeah, that's going to be a very difficult decision that a lot of them have to make. And look, Dana White, after the UFC 330 press conference, you know what he did, right? He talked about how, I don't give a if this fight happens or not. These guys should have fought 10 years ago. So what kind of language is that? That language is basically devaluing, also indifference. Because Dana White is trying to prepare you for the idea that these two guys might not fight, or this fight might not be in the most ideal place for them. So, Liam says, do you like MMA Guru? That's a very good question. It's, believe it or not, I have a loaded answer for your very good question, Liam. By the way, Liam, are you from the UK by any chance? A lot of dudes named Liam are either Irish, Welsh, Scottish, or British. Which one are you? All right, let me know which one you are, okay? Because I know you're one of them. I just know you're a UK guy, Scottish, Irish, Welsh, or, you know, somewhere in the English channel for sure. But let me answer your question, Liam, okay? So, my question, my answer to your question is, I like MMA Guru as a streamer because I think that he works very hard at being an MMA streamer, and I think that he does the right things to be an MMA streamer, right? He follows all the events, he covers all the events. See, I'm from England. There you go. North or south in England? Are you near London? Are you near Manchester? Or are you in the middle of, let's say, Birmingham, in the Midland areas? Let me know what part of England you are from. See, I knew a Liam Garfield, straight up, you were, for sure, you're an Englishman. I knew it. But okay, answering your question, yes. I like the fact that he's a good MMA streamer. Okay, as a person, he's not somebody I would hang out with. You know, we wouldn't be homies like that, right? Like, he's not a guy that I would vibe well, you know, anywhere, right, in the world, right? I don't think I would go out of my way and have a cup of coffee with MMA Guru. You know, you're not going to see me invite MMA Guru to Stockton and do hood vlogs with him, you know, and bring him around my hood and, you know, this and that. Nah, man, you know, it's none of that, okay? None of that, okay? In fact, I mean, look, I don't think he knows who I am, or maybe he does, you know, through the past chats that I've entered in his chats, but, you know, we're probably ops at a certain point, you know, or we're gonna be ops at a certain point. But I respect him as an MMA streamer. I just don't respect him as a person, and I'm gonna tell you why, right? He has no depth to who he is, right? All he is just an MMA streamer. If he didn't have an MMA streamer, he would be nothing. He doesn't even train MMA. The only time that he trains MMA is to do content with Armin Sarukian or Tom Aspinall, but other than that, he doesn't train MMA, yet he calls himself MMA Guru. So it's, I don't know, it's a very disingenuous type of trajectory that he's in, right? But as far as MMA, as an MMA streamer, I respect him. As a person, no. And what he did during the Ian Gary fight was just indicative of that. Look, I get it, bro. We all got to put on for the camera, right? And I do it too. There's a few times where I've crashed out in here where I didn't need to, but I did it anyway because I knew that it would have been great for content, great for a camera. But I know that that's the reason why he did that as well. But even if that was the reason why he did that, I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, you're angry over an MMA fight. You're angry over an MMA fight. By the way, 2 MMA fighters that he has no connections to. Now, I understand if he got mad, if, let's say, Tom Aspinall got knocked out, because I know he's affiliated with Tom Aspinall. I know that he's also affiliated with Dricus du Plessis. Dricus du Plessis invited him to go fly down in South Africa, and he actually did some training sessions down in South Africa. But that's what I mean. The guy only trains for the cameras, okay? So I don't know. That part I don't really respect, but, you know, I don't know, man. Yeah, I think he's a good MMA streamer, but he's a fanboy who, you know, I don't think should be accepted in the wider circles of guys that, you know, train MMA. Okay, I'm from England, haha. I'm around London, plenty of Liams in Ireland. Yes, that is for sure. Liam Garfield says, Rampage Jackson, I find him entertaining, but don't think I'd want to meet him. You know what, man? I've called Rampage Jackson a bad father in this content, in this channel before. I've called him a bad father, and I stand by that. I stand on that. He's a bad father. At the same time, I didn't want to see Raja go to prison. At the same time, believe it or not, a part of me, you know, kind of agrees with what Raja did. Like, what do you mean you're going to hit me with a can over the head and then make me look like a fool and a bitch in front of everybody on camera? You know, that's out, bro. You're not about to make me look like no bitch in front of everybody in the world. But then you also got to understand, you know what, the most that I would have done was just shoved him right there. Like, man, what the f are you doing, bro? What the f are you doing trying to, like, you know, F with me like that, talking about you're going to hit me with a can over my head? What's wrong with you? And you didn't even run by me by saying that, oh, we're going to make a play, we're going to do a kayfabe or this and that. You didn't run any of that by me, right? So, of course, you know, I'm going to react in a very hostile manner. You know what I mean? I'm going to react in a very violent manner if you try and touch me like that. Understand, there's a lot that Roger Jackson experienced. Okay, like that was accumulation of humiliation from his father. Look, I don't think that's the right way to father your son, right? Humiliating, out of their way to humiliate their kid. I really hate that. And Rampage Jackson, unfortunately, man, you know, that's just the kind of personality that he is. Like over here, and I get it, it's content, you know, it's what you do, but I don't know, man, it's, you know, I'm 41 years old. It would not be the type of content that I would do when I'm 50. Right? Like you're over there, and then you're over here fighting over women with your son. Okay, now if that isn't the most weirdest Freudian you know, situation right there, a Freudian situation. He's over there fighting with his son over women. Imagine that, right? Like you should be encouraging your son, hey son, go get at that girl. You know what I mean? Instead, you're over there cock blocking, doing all time. Man, come on, man. You know, so I don't know, man. Rampage, yeah, Rampage is an awesome guy. You know, I wouldn't mind meeting him. I wouldn't mind doing content or collaboration with Rampage Jackson. But I stand by the fact that he's a bad father, and you know, and he would probably try to punch my lights out for saying that he's a bad father. You know what I mean? He would absolutely try to punch my lights out for saying that, but I stand on that. You know, what am I going to say? That you're a good dad when you're not? Like, come on now. Let me show you guys a little bit of some urban farming right here. I'm going to park right here and then show you guys a little bit of some urban farming. Check this out right here. All right, check this out, guys. A little bit of some urban farming going on here. Yep, you got all sorts of volunteers that come out here and garden out here. It's really nice, man. Really nice. So yeah, as you were saying, Liam, yeah, I respect MMA Guru as an MMA content creator. I think he's an inspiration. Look, here's another thing that this is why I say that it's a loaded answer that I could give you, right? Why I respect him as an MMA content creator, right? This is a guy who, before he got into YouTube, he had no ties to any MMA fighter whatsoever. He was not part of a gym. He wasn't part of any fight team. He didn't train. He didn't do any jiu-jitsu. He's never done any jiu-jitsu competitions, no Muay Thai competitions, amateur boxing or anything like literally nothing to do with fighting whatsoever, right? And yet, he is probably more popular than some of the prelim fighters that you know, that you probably know, right? Well, that's the thing. You probably don't know them, and that's the reason why you don't know them, is because you know, they just don't have that notoriety. So that's the one thing that I respect about him, right? I respect the fact that he was able to go out of his way and create a name for himself literally out of nowhere, okay? Because most guys prior to him, okay, had a background in MMA in some kind of way. So what I like about MMA Guru is that he inspired a group of people that can literally make a name for themselves based on nothing, right? Just based on building a following, based on creating some kind of relations with people. When I mean creating relations with people, like he's relatable. I mean, let's be real about this, right? MMA Guru is the everyday Englishman, okay? Like, he's the everyday average Englishman. Here's another thing, too, that I notice about English society, Liam. And I don't know if you can vouch for this or if you agree with this, but let's try anyway. Right? English people, Scandivigo says, pick some veggies and bounce. No, bro, I'm not going to do that, bro. This is one thing I notice about English society, bro. They hate winners, okay? They hate winners. Meaning that if they see you pull up in London with a nice car, everybody's going to hate on you. In America, you pull up in the hood with a nice car, you know, maybe a few dudes want to rob you, but guess what? At least they'll compliment you first. Like, hey, homie, you know, I'm really feeling that ride, bro. You know, that ride is fresh. And then in the back of their mind, yeah, I'm going to go get this. You know what I mean? I'm going to go get this N-word. I'm going to go get him. I'm going to set him up and this and that. This, that, and the third. But in England, they hate people who do good. They really do. And I think it comes from, and it stems from the idea that many of them were peasants at some point. Many of them were in one extreme over the other, right? Like, you either had peasants or you had people that were kings and aristocrats. For a long time, that's English society, right? And I think that that's really embedded in a lot of people. And also there's a lot of socialist aspects of British society, right? Where they give people welfare, they give people public housing in ways that you may not always get in America. So there is a little bit of that mentality where they hate people that are not poor like them, I guess. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Like, let me know if you think that, you know, you've noticed this about British or English society, because I have, right? This is just, you know, an observation that I noticed about them. And, you know, it's not in any way to degrade UK or anything like that. You know, man, I love the UK, bro. I've been tapped in on UK film culture since, I would say about maybe, how long have I been tapped into UK? Like, I would say about since the mid-2000s. What was one of the first movies that I saw, one of the first British movies that I was really intrigued by was Dead Man's Shoes, right? Dead Man's Shoes was about an Iraqi war vet, or I'm not sure if he was an Iraqi war vet, but obviously he was in the the British military. He came home. His brother, who was autistic or had some sort of like mental challenges, was picked on, right, and was killed by a group of guys that were bullying him. He came back and massacred all of them in the most brutal way possible. Oh man, you guys gotta watch it. It's called Dead Man's Shoes. One of the best British films of all time. It's really dark, right? Really dark though. But, you know, that's me. I like dark entertainment. So, you know what I mean? That's what it is. I like dark entertainment. I don't mind it. So, that's what it comes down to. Dark entertainment. And they absolutely specialize in that. So, yeah, man. Ain't nothing like dark entertainment for sure. So what else? Oh, okay, yeah, the Ryan Garcia fight. Going back to the Ryan Garcia fight and Conor Benn fight, man. Yeah, I wonder how serious Ryan Garcia is taking this fight. I really do. I hope that he's absolutely taking this fight serious because, my God, man, Conor Benn is nothing to play with. Yeah, bro, Conor Benn ain't nothing to play with. I say that Ryan Garcia is probably the more talented fighter, on paper, and of course with the accolades that he has going on, but you know the saying goes, right? Hard work beats talent every time. And I feel like this is one of those instances where that is a possibility, where that can happen. So I don't know, man. That could be the case. Hard work beats talent. That could be the theme for the Ryan Garcia Conor Benn fight. And then Ryan Garcia made a video. It was like a Mac drink video, because he's sponsored by Mac Energy Drink, right? The same energy drink that Conor McGregor is sponsored by. And so he made a mockery out of Conor Benn, right? This whole, you know, stereotypical British stuff, right? Like the most stereotypical stuff about British people, right? Drinking tea, wearing a polo, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. It was weird. He was really trying to go hard, dissing Conor Benn. I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a commercial, right? But I don't know if it's a commercial, if it's just Ryan doing content or whatever. But, you know, that's the thing with Ryan Garcia, bro. Not only is he a talented fighter, but he knows how to market himself as you know, as a fighter, man. He knows how to market himself, right? He's really savvy with the social media. Which is good. He's really savvy with getting and garnering attention. That's always good. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun fight, and that's not too far away, man. We're talking about September 12th. Is that fight? What is it now? It is October. It's gonna be October 22nd. Coming up. It's gonna be October 22nd, and next week, it's going to be September, I believe. Yeah, not too far from September. Does August have 31 days or 30? Let me know in the comment section below. I can't look at a calendar right now, so I'm just curious if yeah, if you guys have that number with you off top, and if you do, yeah, please let me know. So we got about we can stay on for like another 20 minutes or so. Scandabigo says, breaking, Washington informed Israel that Turkey will retaliate against its attack on Turkish assets in Syria. Ooh. All right, man. Scandabigo coming through with some breaking news, bro. Okay. Let me read that again. Washington informed Israel that Turkey will retaliate against its attack on Turkish assets in Syria. Does anybody get the feeling that the United States and Israel's relationship is falling apart? Right? And I think that was indicative of the split between the right wing. Right now, the right wing conservative party is so divided. Okay, they are so divided. And I think that is all a result of Israel and the criticism towards Israel. And the content just keeps on coming. Is that an old buggy from England? Oh, wow. Okay, what year is that car? Oh, 1983. Wow. How'd you get that over here? Did you fly it over here, or? Wow. Okay. Are you from England? No. Okay, but you just like England. Okay.
Told them what I wanted with it over there. Fixed it.
And that was a taxi, right?
Yes.
Wow, man. Yeah, that's classic right there. Because I know they still got those taxis going on in England right now. You know, but they look different.
They look the same, but
they're smaller.
They're very modern. They're very updated.
Right. Almost kind of looks like you know, a Scion in a way. You know, like a box car. Okay. All right. Yeah, man. Thanks for showing me your car, man. There it is, man. So yeah, the content just keeps on coming, guys. Old school British buggy buggy right there, right? You know, so he had this shipped over in England. That's crazy, bro. My man really had that shipped over in England. That's wild, man. Wow. Wow, bro. Awesome stuff, man. Awesome, awesome stuff. Yeah, all right. So, Skinabigo says the midterms will show how divided Republicans are. Bro, you know what, man? I so can't wait for November just based on that alone. You know, just based on that alone, I can't wait for November. I really can't, bro. Like, I am so looking forward to that, okay? Because it really will be a change in U.S. politics for sure, right? There's going to be a huge change in U.S. politics as a result of that. The right-wing party is going to be completely different as we know it today, all right? Like, for a long time, especially with a lot of older boomers, right? A lot of older boomers are really into Israel, right? Because it's this common thing that, you know, many of these older folks, you know, have been told that, oh, Israel is our greatest ally in the Middle East, you know, this, that, and the other, and it's like, I don't know, man. You know, I don't think that's the case anymore. And I think Israel really messed up during the October 7th situation, right? Now, obviously, they were attacked by Hamas in October 7th, and one can argue that's not necessarily where a lot of these attacks, you know, began from in the first place. But the response, I think, really put a lot of people off, right? It really put a lot of people off. And in fact, it put many people off to the point where they realize, you know what, man, maybe Israel isn't our greatest ally after all. Maybe it's not a good idea that we affiliate ourselves with a genocidal country like this. Maybe it's not a good idea that we are giving them money. Right? What is the point of giving Israel money? What's the point of all this? Right? Like, do we really need to give these people money? And that is what many people are talking about right now. But yeah, dude, I really can't wait for what happens when all of that comes about. By the way, man. In the Middle East. Right? Is that fair to say? Right? Is it fair to say that they are weakening their position in the Middle East right now? Now, why do I say that, right? Okay, when this Iran war happened, when this conflict in Iran happened, notice how the United States was not able to protect Israel. They were not able to protect about here. Let me make sure here. Okay, so Scandabigo says John Jones hopped on social media and heard there was a new GOAT. Posted a picture of a list on his title defenses with him #1 with 16 and Islam at 12 with 7. Okay. Ali JF says, beg scrub, boring. You will never come close to Guru. Yeah, look, how about this, man? How about this, idiot? How about you get sent to the Shadow Realm? Boom. Okay? You get sent to the Shadow Realm. You're an idiot, bro. About you. That is the reality of the world, my boy. Continue on with these comments right here. Let me see here. John is funny and correct. They both have beards. That's pretty close. Yeah, John. You know what? That's look, man. Credit to John. That's what John is doing right now. Okay, John is just letting you guys know where he's at, what his status is, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't fault John for doing that to any degree. So, you know what I mean? That's what you got to do. You got to lobby for yourself. If not for yourself, then who are you for? You know what I mean? So there it is, man. I'm sitting in the back seat of my own SUV. There it is, sitting in the back seat of my own SUV, something that MMA Guru knows nothing about. He doesn't even, man, dude, he's almost 30 years old and he doesn't have a driver's license. I mean, how insane is that? Right? You're 30 years old, you don't have a driver's license. What's going on with your life, bro? What is going on with you? I mean, really, what is going on with this guy? It's pathetic. It's honestly pathetic, to be quite honest with you. It really is. But yeah, we're gonna hit the 3-hour mark pretty soon. We're gonna do 8 more minutes of this, and we're gonna make it 3 hours flat. So anything else that you guys want to talk about for the next 7 minutes, let me know, man. You know, let's get through the 7-minute rundown. So here's a little recap, all right, for the 3 hours that we had talked about. We talked about why MMA Guru is an incel. We talked about why he crashes out over, his picks that he got wrong. He hangs his hat on the fact that, hey, I get all these predictions right. Yeah, because you never fought. You never fought before. So the fact that you never fought, of course, you're going to hang your hat on the fact that, oh, my predictions are accurate. Okay, but that's not indicative of anything. If you want so bad for people to know that you know MMA, and we get it. You study. Here's the thing, right? MMA Guru doesn't study MMA. He studies MMA fighters. That is a difference. MMA Guru studies MMA fighters, MMA events, but not MMA itself. You guys need to understand that. Okay? So that is the reason why he crashed out over his prediction being wrong with Ian Gary, and then tries to justify that Ian Gary was like 3-2 or, you know, at very best a tie of some sort, right? Yeah, that's not what it is. So that's that. We toured around Sacramento, showed you guys some old school rails. We went to the river. We went to Lowrider Lane, Miller Park. What else did we do? Show you guys a garden. I showed you guys, you know, a British London taxi cab that was brought here to Sacramento. And here we are, man. And we're talking about all the different events. We were talking about Ian Gary, Islam Makhachev. What else? What else you guys want to talk about for the next 5 minutes? We got about 5 minutes, and we're going to call it quits right here. So, yeah, man, whatever else you guys want to talk about, I'm all ears for it for the next 5 minutes. But I'm going to do some more research on this thing that Scandabigo wrote here, right? Breaking news, Washington informed Israel that Turkey will retaliate against its attack on Turkish assets in Syria. So from what it looks like, yeah, they're trying to attack some assets in Syria, Israel is, and obviously Turkey is going to do something about that, and as a result, Saudi Arabia will do something about that as well. So we're probably going to talk more about that in the future. Scandabigo says, if Arman wins, will Justin fight him, vacate, or request another fight? Well, you know what? We don't know what Justin wants to do right now, but my suggestion is this, right? My suggestion is that I think he should just call it quits right now. Really, like, he should just call it quits right now. Because, think of it like this, right? What gets bigger than the White House? Is anything going to be bigger than the White House? Right? Like, are you going to do anything bigger than the White House? And my answer is probably not. I don't think you can get any bigger than the White House. I don't think. I think that the White House doesn't get any bigger than that. And I think that if Justin goes any further, there's a great chance that he loses. And even worse than losing, he wins a fight that literally means nothing at all. I mean, beating Arman is not nothing at all, but then you beat Arman, then what? Then you retire from there? I think that's good enough, right? At some point, you got to know when it is enough. Khabib knew when to quit. Joe Calzaghe knew when to quit. 50-0, Floyd Mayweather knew how to quit. You got to know how to quit while you're ahead, right? Because, yeah, man, fighting is a gamble. Gambling with your life, not real gamble like actual gambling, but it is a sport where you can't play with your life. You can't play with your life at all. So you got to take it seriously, right? You got to know when to call it quits, and I hope Justin Gaethje understands that. Wow, man, they're renovating this park until 2029. How about that, man? Bright Park renovations. Wow, look at this. This is, that's at least what it says right there. The park that I'm okay. Well, anyways, yeah. So yeah, man, Justin's just got to quit while he's ahead, man. You know, there's no point in staying around. So I think Arman, if he does, let's say, vacate the belt, yeah, Arman, you know, Arman should fight for the title, but then who should he fight for the title? I mean, George St. Pierre did it right. He's like, you know what, man, I beat Michael Bisping, now I'm out. I'm out and I'm done. I beat Michael Bisping, I'm out, and we're done, and that's that. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's not, you know, it's not ideal, you know? So, better that he quits. That's what I think. So, just about a little over 60 seconds we got right now. I want to thank everybody who has tapped into this channel. I want to thank everybody who has gone out of their way to, make a comment. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for all those that dropped by. And how about this, man? Dubs. Not only Dubs, but Gunners Collective pulled up at my channel, man. Guys, go check out their content, right? One of my biggest inspirations on YouTube. I love these guys. I love their content. I love what they do. And, apparently they love my channel too. So, it doesn't get any better than that, man. It was a great channel. It was a great live stream. Having both of them pull up, having everybody pull up. Not all the regulars pulled up today. I wish they did, but, it is what it is. Constantino showed up with some super chats. Very thankful for that. Scandabigo had real good conversations with him in the chat and everybody else. And, of course, all the trolls as well. With that in mind, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I will see you in the next one.